Modernizing the Defense Department's PPBE process has been a goal for decades. The Defense Innovation Unit is piloting a new approach to its own budgeting and project management that might show the way. Here with more on that effort are DIU Program Manager Jamie Fitzgibbon and PRISM CEO Nick LaRiviere. Jamie and Nick, thank you both for joining me today.
Excited to be here.
Thanks. Looking forward to the conversation.
So, Jamie, let's start with you. DIU has been described as the venture capital arm of the Pentagon. And I know I worked in the PPBE process for many, many years. I know VC is not a function that system was built to support. So tell us a little bit about how DIU manages its budget process to maintain the flexibility and speed you need to make your investments.
I will say it was easier when we were small and fairly unknown. When we fleeted up underneath the Secretary of Defense, obviously with that came much responsibility and also a lot of visibility. So we've had to really look at, we were always moving fast and very targeted in how we took our small budget, partnered, of course, with our stakeholders. We used a lot of other DoD stakeholders' funds, and together we would prototype. So that's how we were able to move fast and prove things out and execute small wins with small amounts of money. As we've matured, and DIU has a larger budget to plan and execute, and the pressure to execute, despite the decreased amount of time in which you get your budget to execute, that responsibility has only increased. And so what we've realized is kind of working as our almost a DoD type startup to now growing into a Series A, Series B type of kind of growth at our systems and the way in which we can plan, track, and pivot investments as both national security strategy adjusts as well as what the market is doing.
So within the existing systems that the Pentagon gives you, what particular challenges are you trying to solve?
National security challenges or budgetary challenges?
Budgetary challenges.
So budgetary, national security, that one's easy, right? Budgetary is essentially, there's lots of different colors of money, as you would remember going through your process, and different time in which the money is allowed to be executed. And so there's a lot of moving pieces. You have multi-year funds going on the same project. So the way we're trying to attack this is really tapping into artificial intelligence, tapping into a system of truth that can actually pull from sources of record and then help us manage in real time. Previously, and I know a lot of DoD is operating in still a very manual process of logging their information, re-entering things from one system into another, which is prone to human error. It's prone to a lot of time lag. And obviously you don't necessarily have the most accurate information to move at the speed of the market.
DIU has just announced several new awards to prototype a new budget system with integrated AI. You mentioned that you're trying to bring AI to pull all of these pieces together. How does AI help you do that, and what's the vision for the consolidation of the awards?
So, yeah, exactly. So it would be tying in things that we currently use in very disparate systems and pulling them into one system. What that means is, whether that's through reading a PDF that came out as a MIPR, which is a funding document that gets transferred to us, or a purchase request, or whatever financial kind of means in which the money is moving towards a project. And then also the contract itself and those milestones. And when our vendors get paid, that's also the drawdown of those funds. And those are all different programs. So what we're moving towards and really excited about with the launch of this overarching project called eWarp, Enterprise Reporting and Workflow Platform, is to bring all those systems in and leveraging and laying on AI. So not only do you feed it in a more intelligent way of reading that information using LLMs, but also artificial intelligence to help us map, hey, this MIPR looks like it belongs to this contract. Humans were still going to be very much in the loop of managing and maintaining the accuracy of those connections, but that reduces man time, woman time on these projects by 100-fold, but it also increases the accuracy and the timeliness. And I can't state that enough, because as we get a request from Congress or from the Secretary of Defense to see how our spending is going or how a project is deploying and its success strategically, we are planning through this project to do that with a push of a button.
I've been speaking with Jamie Fitzgibbon. She's the program manager for the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning portfolio at DIU. Nick, I want to turn to you next because the databases that Jamie's talking about come from a variety of sources. They have different data formats. They probably have different data element definitions. Talk to us a little bit about how this pilot project that you're going to be a part of integrates all of these different systems to provide a coherent, comprehensive picture.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for having us on, Terry, and thanks DIU for the support here. So you're right. The data comes in all sorts of different formats. We're looking at data coming in as, PDFs, as Excels, as API endpoints. I mean, it's coming from all these different formats. And ultimately, with the advent of, first, different data pipeline workflows, as well as, layering AI on top of it, we can really work with that type of unstructured, unformatted data and create expected outputs. So we can really format things, we can clean them and tie it together and fuse it together in a way that, humans are having to do today, right? Humans are having to be the ones to do that type of translation. And with these AI systems, which, we've built and ran on the commercial side for a long time and now can really bring into these government workflows, we can actually create a cohesive picture of, DIU's spending, the state of programs, and really give this, almost encyclopedia internally on everything they're doing that they can reference back to and work with.
A couple of things that Jamie mentioned was integration of both budget planning and program management. Those processes are typically very distinct in DoD. Are you thinking about process changes to support this integration, or is it literally just a paste on top?
Yeah, we're thinking about accelerating with a connected digital thread across that entire life cycle, right? Because ultimately the two should be and are quite interconnected. It's, finding these budgets, being able to obligate against them and create awards and invoices, and then to that, hit milestones, track against those, and execute against a project. Today, that's living right across all these, manual, disparate systems, living in the incredible people at DIU and their DoD partners' minds. And, again, with the advent of our system, we're able to tie so much of that together to really help us to accelerate, the DIU folks' workflows even better.
Well, Jamie, as you're overseeing this pilot, what will success look like and how will you measure it?
Success will look like, essentially, I don't have to do all the manual entry that I have to do as a program manager. That's success. Now, success looks like really, truly a system of record that pulls, as I mentioned, from all of these different legacy government systems and workflows, which are not going to change. And that's the biggest thing is when we're working with Prism and some of the other vendors is we don't want you to take our current process and automate it. Like that's old school coding and software development. We're at a new place. And by the way, how we do things is probably not the best way. So show us how we can do this. And also what success looks like is not only just a more accurate and faster way, but a different way where we are maybe tapping into information we're not currently seeing within our own database. For instances, we'll get a question, how many DIU portfolio companies have gotten Series B since being a DIU portfolio company? We would have to manually try to pull that information out. If we actually have the information in our system and tap it back to, say, a pitch book or something else, we could type that and with